Hey folks, it is November the 6th and we're starting another unit in economics. This one's called business organization, how businesses are run and set up. Now, in just a second, I'm going to post this in Google Classroom. So just give me a minute to do that and study that. Next week, we're going to have a vocabulary quiz. Next Friday is also going to be a B day, just like this Friday. And I'll let you know on Tuesday what content that quiz will be over. All right, so business organization. So we're going to go over what exactly this is, and it's three main types. So the definition, an establishment formed to carry on a commercial enterprise. So, an establishment, some people might call like a restaurant an establishment, right? So there's three main types. Sole proprietorship. This is, where it's privately owned, which we talked about. Partnership, which is pretty common form too. And corporations. Other less common, business franchises, cooperatives, and nonprofits. Of course, we'll get into those in just a minute.
Okay.
Here, so while you get that definition down, I want to post this in the Google Classroom for our virtual units. Joey.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Mr. White. Don't stop being sorry. Just
Don't
say
be
it.
better. That's what my dad says.
Stop being sorry.
Ooh, sounds like your dad's right.
Yeah, no, he is. He also hates it.
Noah on there?
Good Lord.
No, I'm the only one on it right now. It's like I'm hoping Noah will watch the recording. Of course, our other versions.
Can you shush?
All right, so moving on from there. Sounds like Noah done. You weren't done. Hey, get your notes. Get your notes. At least get the definition. An establishment formed to carry on commercial enterprise. So commercial has to do with commerce, of course. Enterprise. That's something where you're hoping to reap profit from.
When is our vocabulary next week?
I'm aiming for Friday. So what I'm going to briefly tell you about Monday. We might review a little bit on Thursday, and I'll just give it to you on Friday.
We have a Kahoot on Thursday?
We'll see. I don't want to promise because I don't always remember my promises.
At least you're honest.
Let's just take it.
All right, so next one. Sole proprietorship. So this is one of our main examples. And this is a privately owned, a business organization owned and managed by a single individual. The good life. Well, actually, I'm sure that's pretty hard.
What was the definition of yes, one?
No.
It's in the Google Classroom. All right, so hey, I asked if y'all were ready. So, sole proprietorships are the most common form of business, but are small, generating only 6% of all U.S. sales. So, when I think of sole proprietorships, I usually think of something like car things, like a tire shop, mechanics, stuff like that. Usually they're not places that make things. Usually they're things that are there for upkeep or services, right? So.
Like your mom and pop shop.
Yeah.
I was going to say like my mom.
No, your mom is the sole proprietor.
No, my mom's a nurse, actually. She's a cardiac nurse.
Oh, wait, actually, she's not a sole proprietorship? Oh, I guess she must be a
No.
nonprofit.
She's in the service industries like me.
I am also in the service industry because I clean people's houses.
Since when?
There you go.
Mr. White, you go back to like less than a
I
second.
clean my mom's house.
But
it's
they're
not
writing,
so-
and that would be rude. I can go back later.
So, I do know.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm sorry, I asked,
It's
but I
not
didn't hear an answer. I was too busy looking at your creepy owl
service
boat.
organization.
Creepy woman owl boat. I don't know why you gotta face it at me too.
Fair enough.
Alright, so, moving right along, if everybody's ready, is everybody ready? No, okay,
Slow typer.
still slow typer. Well, yeah, you have the mouse moving. How are you typing with the mouse? Are you doing like the keyboard peck with the mouse, like a little handicap keyboard on the screen or something?
No, just moving the mouse around.
Okay.
Just pass it to him. Pass it to. I'm just tired.
What did you write?
I said you probably said shut up, you fast hard.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Actually,
No, the answer was. shut up.
All right, my generally non-toxic students. Let's go to the next one.
Oh, we're so nice.
Yeah.
weird.
So,
Wasn't we stuff?
hey, so let's see if this corresponds with our advantages that we listed. So we have ease of startup. As long as you've got the cash or a loan, then you can come up with your own plans and you don't have to jump through any hoops. Relatively few regulations. So especially if it's a very small business or if you're outside of a municipality, which is usually less profitable, you have fewer regulations. You're the sole receiver of profit, provided there are profits. A lot of privately owned businesses go periods where they actually experience losses. And that can be tough, especially starting up businesses. It's not uncommon for people to start new businesses and to receive almost zero profit for the first 2 or 3 years until they get on their feet. That's tough. That takes a lot of savings. Full control. You are the master of the universe. And easy to discontinue. So if you're just like, oh my gosh, I got to get out of this. No contracts. No one's going to sue you. Just, throw a match on it and walk away.
I like that. Be good.
All right. Unless it's like a daycare or something, please don't. Or like, I don't know.
It's more of an incentive.
What's
Pet
that?
shop. Don't throw a match in the pet shop.
What?
That would be
Well, an adoption agent.
What's it, Mr. Weiner? What's it
Gosh,
called?
okay, I'm sorry I said it.
Okay.
Mr. Weiner?
Yeah.
What's it called whenever, like, say you did, like, okay, so, like, say my friend does powder coating, right?
Okay.
Say someone gives him whatever they want to powder coat, they don't pay him yet.
Uh-huh.
So what's it called whenever he holds it until they pay for it?
I don't know. I used to, one of my first jobs, I worked for an upholster and he would do custom like car interiors and he did the same thing. He'd hold on to your car until you paid
I
for
wonder
it.
if you could do that to, like, if you own a daycare.
No, you can't do that.
Bam, the kid's mine.
And you wouldn't want that anyways. After having it for 8 hours, they're like covered in snot and stuff.
Okay, well then.
We have the kid wet for a
You
reason.
would want to push them out of the door at the day's end. You don't want them to stay at your place.
Oh, wait,
So you
like,
Yeah.
what about a hospital?
That was.
Yeah, you don't want to hold on to the sick. How is that going to help out with keeping your hospital open?
You can have
Actually, some hospitals do that.
They'll
They
keep
won't
you.
let people out until they pay their bill.
Well, that's only possible if they're receiving subsidies for it, because every time you fill a debt with somebody, that's somebody else you can't treat.
Yeah, but like some insurances have it where it's contributed to the hospital and they won't let them out until they fully pay.
That sounds like debt slavery. That sounds like what they used to do back in the day when they put people in prison until their family pays the debt.
And sometimes they didn't have family yet, they still have to pay the debt.
Yeah, so they're just there till they get died of like diseases or like from eating a bad rat or something.
Oh man, this route was bad.
It happened a
I'm
lot.
actually fixing it.
It made no sense in the end. All right, so disadvantages. Let's see if this lines up with what we put as disadvantages. Unlimited personal liability. Owner is legally bound to pay all business debts. And if you're sued, limited access to resources, lack of money and capital. You have to rely solely on the banks. prevents sole proprietorships from becoming large unless they get a lot of profits. They got a really good, innovative model and are lucky and are really hard. Lack of permanence. When an owner closes shop or retires, the business has ceased to exist. My father's parents they owned a restaurant, and then they moved their restaurant here from California. And yeah, when they retired and passed away, the restaurant was alone. So yeah, that's what happens.
Isn't that what like inheritance is for and stuff like that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not, but the thing is, their kids didn't want to work in the restaurant, right? So when they passed away, the restaurant just kind of got sold and vanished.
It sucks when your favorite local burger place shuts down.
Yeah.
In White House, we have this place called Dylan's. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
but then it became Mr. Taco, and their taco slap, so it's okay.
All right.
Well, you know what? There is one franchise that would do very well in White House.
Oh, boy.
Whataburger.
Oh, Joe.
Okay.
I don't need one. Like sports teams from the White House ISD always give like a free Whataburger, like Whataburger.
Oh, Landry.
What?
They give like tickets, stuff like that.
What?
So if
Dog, what are you
if
talking
on like some of the sports teams, like the volleyball team,
Well, I know
they'll give you like
Dairy
a
Queen
free
does
meal
that.
after you finish the
They'll
tournament.
do discounts
Where?
for sports teams, like
White
What
House
school?
ISD at Whataburger. So
The-
they put
the people who
Whataburger
play?
in White House ISD.
The people who play?
Yes.
Okay. I was gonna say, I've never seen that ever happen ever.
Yeah,
before,
because
or ever
we
heard of
would
it.
get discounts from Whataburger or Dairy Queen, but we would get free when I was a coach.
They got like a free like Whataburger ticket. I guess the school paid for it.
No, that's pretty cool. Yeah, we
Yeah.
can still pay for it, but they get a discount. They do get a discount.
For every sports game, no matter whether it's home or away, all the White House buys them lunch or dinner.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
goes
yeah,
for
we would get like a certain amount of money with this.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get
That was
pizzas
it.
instead.
it goes for band, baseball, track, whatever it is, and it's usually like what's the deli called? That's by
Jason's
Mac,
Deli?
whatever. Jason, yeah, it's usually Jason's Deli sandwich with a little
Or
mashed pickle.
DQ. DQ too, right?
Yeah, Dairy Queen does a lot
No,
of that.
it's usually something you can do cold, so you can go far away with it.
And that's why I think that the franchise of Whataburger would do very well in White House because they always have stuff for it.
There was rumors that they were going to build one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, how do you know? I heard that they were going to build one like.
I remember when I was in football in high school, they'd get us like the meal with like the Sunday, but it'd be like, all right, got 5 minutes. You're just like fisting the food down your throat, trying to get it down, and you had to throw it away. Get a brain freeze. All right, so partnerships, there's the other one. So business owned by two or more people who share responsibility and liability, responsibility for debt for the business. So this is like an ancient form of investment there, like you would even see this back in the day when you might have a couple of merchants get together and invest in renting a part of a boat to get cargo across the ocean or maybe on a caravan. So you have business partnerships, still common today. You might have a couple of individuals get together and they'll get the capital and they have to get the know-how and they both try to partner to make it work because one person, it can be very hard to do.
And it makes sense because people can have, different skill sets and experiences.
Now, skill sets, and also if you're the only person who's at the top, you can't ever, if you get sick or you want to do vacation, it's really hard. And then there's nobody else at top. You have to trust the people under you. You don't know if you can always do that. But if you got a partner, hopefully it's somebody you could trust.
There's actually
Like Jacob
there's a
Marley
small
and
little restaurant in California. You might not have heard of it. It started off in like the 50s. It was the first of its kind with like, you actually went to the restaurant and actually picked up your food. It was called McDonald's. Have you ever heard of it? It was originally a partnership.
No, I haven't.
Fun fact, it was
I'm a little
originally
too poor
partnership.
for that, sir.
It was originally called McDonald's
Donald's.
because the two McDonald's brothers
Yes.
started it.
We've all seen the YouTube video.
I haven't.
Any YouTube
What
video
YouTube
about
video?
McDonald's?
I didn't watch a YouTube
Yeah.
video on it.
But like,
That's not what I learned about it from. I didn't
Watch
watch Mojo YouTube video on it.
Have like a heart condition. We bought the restaurant.
I used to
and that's
love what-
where it's really start.
They did a video about bike
stuff like that.
They've done a video about every bike
That's
out
cool.
on.
No, like,
All right, moving on, folks. So advantages of partnership.
I can't move on.
Ease of startup. So just like we saw with individually owned, shared decision making and specialization. So partners divide workload and skills of business. So like once again, yeah, like Mark was saying, you both might have different skill sets. One might be more marketing, one might be as far as actually making the thing work, one might have to do with finances. You know, like somebody with great ideas, somebody who's actually more of an organized doer. Larger pool of capital. Partners both invest funds into the business. Taxation. Partners pay their own taxes, but the business does not. I think that depends on the region though, because there's some businesses, like let's say, there's some states where like, let's say you own a family owned or a partnership, like laundromat. Your small business is also counted on your personal taxes. You have to pay your personal and your business taxes together. But there's some states where you separate it, where you have to do the taxes separate, personal taxes and business taxes. Like I said, it's complicated. We get to tax law.
it's time we're not doing taxes.
That's why I'm not.
Sounds like I'm never gonna own anything ever in my life.
Yeah, be careful.
Via back with, I'm guessing.
Well, this is a common thing. Like a really regular form of private business around here is owning your own like trucking company. Like somebody will own like
Yeah.
3 semis, and you get a couple of drivers. But a lot of the times, I've known a couple of guys who've owned things like that, and they messed their taxes up because they didn't realize how businesses operated. They thought they could just
I just think we
get
should
the
abolish
trucks and get the
taxation.
drivers.
Yeah, that's why my dad
We should just
My
abolish
dad actually
taxation.
did that whenever I was like 4. He bought like a whole bunch of like big trucks, made his own little trucking company, and it was like until like 3 or 4 months later it went out of business.
Yeah, my wife's dad, he owned his own truck and worked for himself for a while, but when he wrecked his truck, the insurance wasn't enough to get a new one. So he quit that.
My dad has my dad actually right now has one of the biggest oil group focused Facebook groups, over 21,000 people on it. And he sells merchandise for it.
Nice.
A long time ago.
Well, I'm sure it'll get better when the oil market turns around. It's
Hopefully.
yeah, hopefully. But it usually comes back around. I mean, maybe not as big as it was last time, but it should come back around.
Around Dallas, or it's already back to normal price.
Already bad. Well, that's good for them. Not good for me though. Like I want cheap gas. But yeah. All right. So moving on. Disadvantages. So at least one partner has unlimited liability, has to pay the business debts and obligations. So what this means is that one person has to essentially take the helm in a sense, at least legally. Partners are bound by each other's actions. If your partner makes a stupid mistake, you're stuck with it. Like let's say, without asking your permission, they make a deal with another organization. Well, since they're an equal partner, you have to abide by it, even if it's something you would have never done. Potential for conflict, arguments and disputes, etc., between partners can cause major problems in the business. So this happens. This does happen. This happens in family partnerships too, where you might have a couple of siblings or something like that, or a parent and their kids get a business and eventually they get bad blood because of drama or because of disagreements about how the business is run, and then they split apart and the business doesn't always survive that. So you gotta be careful about that too. You gotta be professional.
There are some businesses that make it where you can't sign any contract without every single one of the partners.
Yeah, or you'll have a board, right? Like the board is in charge, and the board has to have like at least a majority for a lot of decisions. So that can be a thing too.
But that's mostly thing between 2 or 3 partners. All 2 or 3 of them have to agree.
Yeah. Or sometimes you'll have like if it's a big enough company where you have market shares, then usually they like to have boards involved with that.
Yeah, because that gets very weird whenever it comes to like market shares and like investments, stuff like that. Because if someone has like a 50% share, they own a lot of the company.
They do. And the whole point of your company, you have the danger of where it's not even actually really promoting the business and making the business grow, but making it look like it's constantly growing so that you have the valuation of those stocks constantly increase.
That's actually why a lot of like gaming companies cater to the Chinese government, because the Chinese government owns like a lot of their market share. And they can't really do anything. Their hands are tied. Like Activision Blizzard and Tencent. Tencent's a fan a little bit. Yeah. But market shares are a big thing. That's why you never want to mix government and market shares, because then it becomes political.
I can see that. All right, next one is corporations. A business that is a legal entity. It exists on its own with rights like a person. Now, this is actually from a Supreme Court ruling. I forgot the name of the case, but where the Supreme Court said that as far as purposes for contracts and the law, that businesses have the same rights as, like, an American business has the same rights as an American citizen. So as far as due process, as far as liability, as far as even like individual rights, such as search and seizure, and so on and so forth. So this is usually owned by individual stockholders. So people own shares or parts of the company. Stocks, sometimes called shares, represents a stockholder's portion of ownership of a corporation.
Now, I have a question.
Okay.
I know a lot of people are going to recognize both. What is an angel investor? They're actual things. I think that they literally buy pieces of the company.
My dead grandma.
From heaven?
No.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't recognize the term.
No, I do.
He does.
An angel investor is an individual who provides capital for a business startup, usually in exchange for convertible debt or ownership in all the things that equity. Angel investors usually give support to startups at the initial moment, and when most investors are not prepared to back them.
Oh, this is like Shark Tank.
Yeah, they usually come in.
That's Shark Tank.
And they know how big it could be.
Yeah.
They've already been successful. Like, they have the capital.
Yeah, they have the connections and
idea that
everything.
they come in and, like, make
My
it.
brother met.
Yeah, that's a Shark Tank.
So those are angel investors.
Hey, my brother.
Last night, I had this amazing idea. Like, I'm talking about revolutionary idea.
Okay.
And I was looking it up, and at first I didn't find it, and I was like, I'm gonna make this. And then I looked it up even more, and I make them for pets. It's a shampoo, like it's a brush with like bristles, like for you to wash your hair, but you can put soap into it
Yeah.
and release the soap into your hair. So
You need to make the human version, or you can make toothbrushes that squirt the toothpaste in your mouth.
What do you mean? Oh, look at the two. Oh,
See, all right, I give you my idea. Go ahead and get rich.
I like it.
All right.
And she's like,
But the thing about angel investing is
Yeah.
very well off. Because
Yeah.
your prediction could be wrong. And they already angel this.
They can take everything, right?
Toads.
Yeah, 'cause usually they might have like a contract where there's a lot of, hey folks, hey, y'all are getting way too loud. Yeah, because I could see also too though, since they usually have better lawyers and contract advice, they could get you in where like it falls under, they get to take out, like certain stipulations where they get to accrue their losses from you, Where it's like, hey, if anybody's gonna be the fall guy, it's you, little fish, not me. So that's what I would think. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, advantages of a corporation. So advantages for stockholders. They do not carry the responsibility for corporation's actions. So yeah, if you own stocks in a company and that company is under criminal investigation, you don't have to go to prison for that company. You're just a stockholder. You didn't make a decision in that. If a corporation does something illegal or owes debt, stockholder is not responsible. You just lose value of your stocks. Shares of stocks are transferable. They can be sold to others for profit. Yeah, so if you get scared because it's dipping, you could sell it. Or if it gets really high and you want to make a profit, you can sell it. You can always dump it whenever you want to. So
My dad has Disney stock.
can I have it? No.
You can get this stuff.
So if your dad owns Disney, that means he partially owns Fox and like Pixar and a whole bunch of stuff because Disney owns almost everything.
My dad,
They probably own one of my dogs.
my dad always bought Apple stock in the 90s. It was like, I don't know. They had the same thing with Google. It's like, I don't know.
I'm not even in the same where I'm done.
And he sees it as regret now. He's like, oh.
That's all right.
A trillion.
All right, we'll do a little bit more of this. Let's see what some of the disadvantages are. All right, so, oh, wait. Advantages continued. Advantages for corporations are also, they have the potential for more growth than other business forms. They're bigger. They're more diverse. They tend to have more people who are specialized to make that business grow. They can borrow money by selling bonds. And so a bond is essentially a loan, really. They can hire the best labor through human resources, the best equipment, capital resources. And they tend to go on for a long time. Like think of big name brands, right? National, international brands.
Puma.
The shoes. Oh yeah.
Like what
I'm
about
an
Sears
entire
or Kmart or Blockbuster, any of those.
Oh, yeah, the
Well, they
Puma-
did.
yeah.
See their problems. Yeah. They didn't adapt to change.
Blockbuster could have bought Netflix,
But let's be,
Yeah, I remember hearing something about that.
and they didn't because they said, "Oh, it's just a fad."
but
Yeah,
let's
they
be
didn't
honest.
know the internet was going to be such
Like
a
if you can find like in Canton we have a my dad lives in Canton. But we have like a place like Blockbuster, like a rental place, a movie rental place. Awesome. Like
Yeah, like
I would say more people. I would say a lot of people use that.
I mean, a lot of older people.
Netflix, but overall in Canton, everyone uses it.
I think there might still be a movie place in Jacksonville.
I
It's
don't
not
know.
a Blockbuster.
I remember where the Blockbuster was. It was on Grande.
Yeah.
you can
yeah.
order their stuff online. And
Yes, sir.
Get delivered to your house.
Yeah.
No, there was something else, like some online thing, but I
know
think
there's
it's
What or what?
They fail.
Timeshares.
They
Timeshares. Yeah, okay. So a timeshare is like this. Like, let's say you got a place that has like they usually tend to have like nicer hotel rooms or cabins and stuff like that. It's a vacation place or ski lodge, and it has multiple rooms for you to stay at.
Villages.
Yeah, what you do is the villages. Like I live down the road from there. What you do is with timeshare, you and a lot of other people pay for a certain portion of time for you to go down there, but you usually get to pick the time to go down there. So you might say, I'm paying a monthly fee to this place, and that gets me 2 weeks out of the year whenever I want to go down there for free when you're really paying for it. And I'll get meals and like the room, and I'll get to ski or water ski or whatever kind of place it is, right? And so the thing is, though, is it's notorious because a lot of people wind up paying a lot more for that than the time they actually use. So a lot of times people will be like, hey, and because you also have to sign like a contract. And so I'm going to pay for this timeshare for the next 5 years. And if you use all the days, you actually save money. Like if you're like, hey, I go on vacation a lot. I do a lot of traveling. But if you don't use the days, or if you change your mind, you lose your job, you can't make the payments, too bad, you're under contract. And you can pay like a big penalty payment to get out of it. So you can lose a lot of money.
My grandparents have had theirs at the villages since like the 90s.
Yeah, a lot of people, I've met a lot of people who like the villages one.
But now it's Hilton or something.
Yeah, they built like a new thing, all that stuff.
So
That's
it
where
opens
Dr.
up.
Morris used to live, was right behind that.
Keaton lives right next to it.
Miss Cannon lives around there too.
Jesus.
I'm going to New Orleans this February.
Nice. I like it.
Did you wear socks?
Okay.
You wore socks? Can you take your shoes off?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that answers your question. Hey, let's go over the disadvantages, and that'll do it for today's notes. All right. So, hey, folks, we're about done. So, disadvantages of corporations: difficult and expensive to start up. These are really big things. Double taxation. The corporation must pay taxes on income, and stockholders must also pay taxes on dividends. That's like, part of it. Or their share of any corporate profit. Now, the thing is, though, the corporation doesn't feel the sting of what the stockholders have to pay. So, and a lot of times, too, what's good for corporations is they get big enough that they're actually able to work their way into things like tax credits and different kinds of tax codes that actually have them pay less taxes than individuals in some cases. Loss of control. Managers and boards of the directors control corporations, not the stockholders, not the owners. It's not necessarily true all the time. There are some corporations that people who own a certain amount of stocks, even small amounts, can vote for the directions of companies. More regulation. Government regulates corporations more than other business organizations. They're easy targets. They're big. They're noticeable. They got a lot of cash. And so they're often targets for legislation.
That's what happened to Papa John. You got kicked out of his.
He said something he shouldn't have said, and they got mad at him.
Papa John got kicked out.
He said,
Okay, to
not
be fair,
just
he
the
was,
A part at the end. It's
I don't know the
ER.
story. I
he was
just I thought
quoting
he said
someone.
something.
He said hard
He was
ER.
quoting someone, to be fair.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
Although
It
it
doesn't
sounds like
matter.
that's pretty dangerous to do that.
Now I'm pretty sure it's criminally insane now.
Oh, I
Because
don't know.
apparently the interview like a month after he got kicked out. He said he was just eating
I
like
was
25
left
pieces like every week.
the air response.
He really left what he did. He left Papa John left Papa John's pizzas. All right. All right. Last one for the day. More disadvantages. Growth of corporations, mergers are combinations of two or more corporations, large corporations. So, hey, tell you what, we're going to talk more about mergers tomorrow when we come back. We're going to go ahead and end the lecture for today. So we're going to come back on Tuesday. We're going to talk more of, shh, guys. We're going to talk more about mergers and different kinds of businesses when we come back on Tuesday. And I'll let you know what's going to be on the quiz. Talk to you later.
I know.
Bye now. Love you.
No.